G'day, legends. It is Jai, that Aussie Metal Guy, here with Crannk.com. Tonight, wherever you are in the world, it is a great pleasure that I'm catching up once again with Mr. Mark Kelson from Progressive Doom Visionaries, The Eternal. The last time we caught up was 2 years ago around the release of the Skinwalker album, which marked a major new chapter for the band. Since then, The Eternal have continued their journey through the EP Celestial and are now preparing to release their 8th studio album, Obscured Horizons. Does drop September 18th through RPM, Raining Phoenix Music. And a few days after that, you are heading out with good friends across Australia with Amorphis. Mark,
yes,
thank you so much for joining me, mate.
What an introduction. That was brilliant. Thank you. My pleasure to be here.
Absolute bloody pleasure. As you can tell by the intro, so am I. When we spoke 2 years ago, Skinwalker was about to be released. As I mentioned, you described at the time as Eternal having a whole new lease of life. It's been great to see how it's been rolling out. Looking at everything that has happened since then, how different does the band feel from the one standing on the edge of that release to this one?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's definitely, we've had some time together. Now, obviously, before Skinwalker, we had the addition of Jan Reckberger and Nicholas Edelavori to the lineup. And so that was a whole rhythm section change for the Skinwalker album, and obviously also marked our beginning as an international collaboration between, Helsinki and Melbourne. And but a lot of that material was kind of in its primal forms when those guys came into that. And we still definitely worked collaboratively, but from the point where that was mixed and we felt good about the collaboration, we jumped right into writing. And we, immediately, we had, I have to say, we had most of these songs in some raw demo form before Skinwalker even came out. We had like 15 songs kind of, pretty much on the go, right? So it was a very creative time. So, and it just worked remarkably well. I think we had a lot of our teething problems and during, not problems, but, getting to know each other during the Skinwalker process. And then, we kind of knew how we all worked and what we brought to the table for. So we were able to start Obscured Horizons with everyone writing and submitting in demos. And what really surprised me was that, Jan himself submitted 2 complete demos with music and riffs and everything as a drummer, so not totally surprising that I know he's very much a composer, but that was like, I've never had that before where like every single band member is writing demos for the band. So that was, instantly collaborative and it, obviously I'm singing on all of it, so it kind of filters through my lens a little bit, but it just immediately opened up this, it was definitely challenging because having people coming in with different writing styles than my own, you've got to go, oh, how am I going to approach this? This is, and I was excited about it. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to work on that. It was like, oh, how can I bring this into the Eternal, this sound, So there's a lot of, great stuff. And, it's just really exciting. So we all felt really good about it. And then we had some fun shows after Skinwalker came out. We did an Australian tour. We did a run over in Finland with Cemetery Skyline, which was really awesome. We did some shows with Swallow the Sun. Obviously we're not a touring all year round type of band. Jan's in Amorphis as his day job, and I have a day, and me and Richie have day jobs. So, but it's been a really good couple of years. And, at some point, our label manager at RPM said, you guys have got a lot of songs, could you want to make an EP as well? And instead of just going, oh, and they kind of threw, you got a song and we'll do the live song thing. And I'm like, no, if we're making an EP, it's an own piece of work. It's a mini album. So he then went about splitting the material into 2 cohesive bodies of work, which was awesome because it allowed us to make Obscured Horizons really like side A, side B type of situation and be really kind of to the point a little more for us, maybe. I think it's probably our shortest album, on the dial.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that some of the tracks are a little bit shorter than the last one as well, but it doesn't feel shorter either, though. It just feels like a massive album with everything you do, and it does kind of feel like Obscured Horizon feels like a little bit of a culmination and an evolution of what you've started
Mm.
created through Skinwalker, and then with the Celestial EP as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the it's the refined sound of the four of us,
Yeah.
and we're really good at self-editing, and that sometimes involves like really being critical about your own songwriting. I mean, we work as music producers with other bands, and it's very easy for me to tell them, "Hey, we need to cut that out, or we need to do this." But when you've got to do it with your own songs, it's harder work to kind of do this whole self-editing and making sure that the song is in its best form. And I'd say we do a lot of that. Like we have whole like on Obscured Horizons Celestial, because they are from the same session. We literally had 3 weeks of me and Jan sitting in the studio just working on arrangements, like just cutting stuff out or adding stuff in, like just arrangements, like alone. And then even in the mixing stage, when we were in this studio in Melbourne, working on the mixes, like we were still questioning, we were still refining the arrangements. And if something what needed to be longer, we made it longer, but we really made effort to be critical of our work, to look at it from an objective perspective.
Yeah, well, I've seen that from the album notes and everything as well, that you were able to kind of do that together in Melbourne, because I know there's been so much distance between you at times when creating music. So having you both locked in must have been really a good time for you both as well.
Yeah, we have to do it, and it's always like a once or twice a year thing that we're in the same place. We're
Yeah.
also great friends, me, Jan, Nicholas, and Richie. Like we love to hang out and have a laugh together. So, but me and Jan definitely, yeah, and Nicholas and Richie have a bit of a sound background as well, definitely. But me and Jan did take a bit of a lead on the mix and the
Yeah.
overall production of this record. And jokingly we call ourselves Stephen and Wilson, like so we're like, we are like a combination, and we both have our strong points of what we do. And it's just a really good, it's we have to be together at something. The mix definitely has to be face to face, and that's kind of, so next year we'll be together, like working on the new demos and working on stuff together. So the great thing is, because we know we only have those blocks of time together, it gives us deadlines. Hey, we're going to be together in June next year, so we need to have some demos in the bag.
Yeah, I do really love the themes on this. And like a quick note to that, Celestial really did
Yeah.
feel like a bridge, because I was playing these albums together, and that
Oh, nice.
Celestial really did feel like a bridge, especially with the Everlasting track you done as well, kind of a
Yes.
tip to the old as well. I love the
Yes.
way that EP, when you do listen to it as a whole, because I know we talked last time, you're a whole kind of album kind of person as well, and we
Yes.
did make that clear in our last conversation. You want people to kind of begin at the start, put on the headphones, or experience in your own way the complete journey of what you are saying with the Eternal, and with an album in
Yeah.
particular, this one.
And so Celestial ends up being like a mini album,
Yeah.
like it's definitely like it's not like random songs stuck together. We picked very carefully what went over to that. And we picked ones that kind of did bridge the Skinwalker vibe as
Yep.
well, like Celestial Veil and Casting Down Shadows. And I think, It All Ends is a very classic Eternal. It All Ends, Down, Everlasting, like those kind of songs we have. It's very typical kind of the that vibe song. But yeah, like it really allowed us to cut the fat off the bone, and not that it was fat off the bone, but and focus on making this a really tight, cohesive, and say what we need to say at a little bit of a quicker time, and also just make sure that the songs we chose had the most lyrical, like the lyrics were the most consistent as well, which of course ends up accidentally being a concept record, which is not really what I intend to ever do, but lyrically it always flows of what I'm going through at that time, and so it ends up being lyrically like kind of a journey as well.
Yeah, it does. I loved an album journey, and this kind of really captures it well. Kind of one thing, listening to this whole album again and again and capturing the lyrics and really listening to it kind of feels like it beautifully captures that fragility of kind of mortality through these really cinematic and deeply emotional soundscapes, and with your voice and the delivery of it. Was that contrast between beauty and human vulnerability something you consciously wanted to bring into this album?
I think it's like well, it's a personal reflection of probably where my head was at, but
Yep.
always like it's the Eternal has always had this underlying dark melancholy with just this glimpse of hope. Like,
Yep.
and that's the and it's always been the journey of the human condition, like lyrically anyway. And you know, like in the last 3 years of my life, everything is completely different than it was. Everything is completely different than it was pre-Skinwalker. Like my life is not even remotely the same. And from just quitting drinking to all being completely sober for 3 years to everything, meeting my partner, like buying this house, everything that I've gone through in the last 5 years, changes in my career, like lyrically, that like really encapsulates the hard periods that I went through during and after Skinwalker, into this kind of like if you look at the song, the lyrics to Obscured Horizons, it's don't ever let it obscure horizons, something to that degree. Or basically, the lyrics of Obscured Horizons saying, "Don't let all the noise around obscure your horizons of where you're heading." And like I think there's melancholy beauty in hope as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and I think you can be dark and reflective, and it doesn't have to be so literal that you're singing about cutting yourself or like vampires or withering roses in the darkness. Like that metaphor's done to death for me, and I've written songs just like that. So don't I'm not shitting on that metaphor, but I think going from a really personal, almost therapeutic approach, I would hope, and that sometimes I see it when we play, where like we're playing one of the really emotional songs, and there's some young man or woman there, and their eyes are closed, and they're just clutching their fists because they feel the words that I said, right? And it's also given them some hope. So I like to think that people could hear the lyrics and go, "Hey, that's how I feel," but he's like giving me some hope in all of that. So that's kind of the vibe of lyrical. So I guess it is it's not fantasy based stuff. It's like dealing with your everyday shit and then kind of purging that. And for me, Obscured Horizons is very much about moving into, new territory.
I think that's one thing that I've really connected with your music. You talk about hope, melancholy, and that's kind of the human condition, isn't it? Melancholy with glimpses
Yeah,
of hope. And kind of when I come across your music, I've just gone through so many turbulent changes in my life as well. Just hitting
wonderful.
remission of cancer and everything as
Oh
well. And then
man.
the last couple of years, and your music has captured that darkness of life, but also hope. And this album, it starts off with "Lament for the Hollow," which does tackle some themes. It feels like it begins with someone who's kind of shattered. It feels to me, but does not remain in that place of
Yeah.
defeat. That strong movement towards cutting away from those things in your
Yeah,
life, allowing
absolutely.
time to reveal the truth, and almost burning that negative shit out of your life as well.
Yeah, it's definitely about removing the shit from your life. I mean, if you look at the video, the lyric video for Obscured Highs, it's a little guy on a boat going through a storm, and then coming out at the end. It's a very simple metaphor, but it worked really well. But yeah, it is like I think no matter how much people dwell in the dark music and all this, everyone wants to have a little bit of hope to get through the rest of their life. Like I don't believe that anyone is that far down the hole that they don't want to have a good experience with others around them. And I don't know, maybe I'm getting old, but like I love melancholic music and I love the darker emotions, but I really want I want to work my ass off to have a good life and good mental health and all of those things. And, you know, Obscured Horizons is really about just fucking cutting some of that shit loose. And, and the way I also see it with the Eternalism, I'm turned 50 this year, and you got to go hard while you've still got time, right? And
Yep.
I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to keep making this music, and I don't care if I have a label, no label, whatever it is. The Eternal is going with me until I can't keep doing it, because that's how I express myself. So, there's a sense of urgency because there's this. I've developed a sense of understanding of my mortality, I guess.
Yeah, but then you kind of
And
get
yours. Yeah.
exactly. Then you appreciate it a lot more. You know what I mean? The light and dark, it's the shades. You can't, appreciate the light if you haven't been in the dark.
That's a brilliant metaphor. How can you appreciate the light if you haven't experienced the dark, and vice versa, So
Exactly. And I love the way Existing to Expire. I'm jumping on the singles here, but that had such a bleak title. But when you really dig into it, it kind of like you don't want to have this pointless life where you're just existing to expire. It's kind of
exactly.
reclaiming a little bit more of what has been lost within you.
Yeah, exactly. Existing to expire is about, like, yeah, we're all kind of doing that, but reclaim it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, move, walk in to face all the lies. Like, face all this shit that's like holding you back. That's like, so many people sit in a shitty job they hate and do things they hate because they don't have an opportunity, because they don't have the strength within them to go, like I have a full-time office job in a university, but I like my job
Yeah.
because I worked my ass to get a job that I liked and what I like to do, and I like to impact the learning experiences of young people. So, for me, if you work hard in your life, you'll get the things that you want. I believe that, and I believe that's why the Eternals having like a bit more of a, still going and still making music, because I haven't stopped. I haven't given up. I didn't go, hey, no, I'm going to just do the office job. No, I do both, and I do them both with enjoyment and passion, and Existing to Expire is kind of like, I mean, Lament for the Hollow. That's like for those that have just kind of downtrodden and kind of given up, like, I mean, if you I can't even remember the lyrics in the chorus, but it's actually the passage of time will reveal or cast away those who defy you. Don't let people hold you back. Like it's your own limitations in your mind that holds you back. Now, I'm not definitely becoming not some fucking spiritual healer or some shit.
I totally
just
get it. I totally get it. Don't sit on the sidelines of life. If you want to, go do yodeling, or you want to you make music, or you want to do something in life, don't sit on the sidelines and wait for it to pass you by. Don't just, you know what I mean, exist to expire. Do things that you want to love.
Exactly.
Passionately.
You've nailed it, fella. You've nailed it. Nailed it, young Jay. That's exactly it.
We get there in our old age, and you do become more motivated, and you fucking do a lot more as the older you get. I chat to a lot of us aging metalheads, and we're doing a lot more now as we're getting older, not drinking, a lot more bloody motivated. And I love the story all through this whole album. I'm not going to dig into every track, but I did love Awaken the way you do it. And we mentioned albums before. There was a line like, close the door, I don't live there anymore. It's just, it just felt, it was just such a great track to end it, and such a, lyrical content, the sound of it. It just was a really great way to end it, with all the themes you did kind of attack all the way through that.
When I wrote those two lines, that solidified the whole concept of the album. So, close the door, I don't live, shut, whatever the hell that line is, you know it better than I do right now. Close the door.
I don't live there anymore. These walls no longer hold me in. Yeah.
That was alcohol for me.
Yeah.
Those were the walls that were holding me on the fucking couch, not doing anything productive, moving really slowly, not, doing everything I can to express my creativity. So I closed the door. I'd stopped it. I just one day stopped, and I never drank again. And I couldn't stop creating from that moment. And I've been so productive and so busy, and you know, like just a really good functioning member of my own mind, so to speak, right? And so that's honestly the truth. What that song's about, the because for me, particularly by the time I got to the end of COVID, alcohol was like a prison for me.
Yeah.
So, um, and all I wanted to do with my life is make music with the Eternal. So I need to, I'm running out of time, man.
Yeah.
So you gotta like embrace it. And I'm not telling anyone don't have a beer with your mates. Like that's cool. Everyone, decision is your decision. But for me, that decision was like a really powerful, pivotal change and awaken. It was really hard to say where that was going to go because it could have thematically it could have been first, but it was a really nice way to end. And as an interesting side note, it ends with that beautiful proggy keyboard solo thing, which me and Jan argued about for like a month. He wanted to delete it, I wanted to keep it, and he wanted to end with dun dun, and I wanted this whole proggy clean thing at the end. But when we decided to put the song last, he was like, perfect. It's got to stay as it is.
Yeah, I'm glad it did too. It was a beautiful closer to the album, and the connection between the Eternal and Amorphis stretches back many years. So it's really great to see you guys getting to tour around Australia together.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a blast. We love hanging out with those guys, and we can't wait to hit the stage with them. I always love watching them play. They're one of the most unique and professional bands that I know, and down to earth as fuck. So, and their crew is beautiful, and we're using the crew as well. So, yeah, it's just going to be a real blast to launch Obscured Horizons with such a monumental shows with such a important band.
Damn straight, it does kick off in September 23. I'm pretty sure it's through your mate bookings from what I see there.
Yes.
Everybody, sell this fucker out. Mark, it's always great catching up, mate.
Thanks, man.
And hearing how the Eternal's been taking shape since last time we spoke around Skinwalker. Everybody else, Obscured Horizons does drop September 18th through RPM Music. You're going to want to grab it, crank it loud, because the neighbours are going to want to hear it too. Last word, shout outs, thank yous are all on you, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for the awesome chat, man. It's a very informative chat, and you did your homework and you listened to the music, which is phenomenal. And anyone who's checking this out, take a moment to give Obscured Horizons a spin. Hope you enjoy it. Hope Australians, we see you at those shows with Amorphis, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and Canberra. Dates are all over the place, all over our socials. And give us a follow, give us a like, listen to some tunes. We're not done yet. This is, Obscured Horizons is just another step in where we're heading. So thanks.